The world is rapidly changing. In recent decades, the Asian continent has gone through rapid changes. There are countries that are growing so that they are likely to achieve prosperity like the West very soon. Yet there are many developing countries that are far from this goal. However, in this video, we will focus only on the economies which are looking to be the next Asian Tiger economies. We have mentioned a lot of times in our previous videos that Singapore, Taiwan, South Korea, and Hong Kong were crowned as the Asian Tiger economies due to their rapid economic growth. Let's discuss which 4 countries are likely to be a part of this esteemed grouping in the near future. First, let's talk about Vietnam. Most people remember this country because of its horrifying history of wars and conflicts. The poverty rate of Vietnam was over 60% with a GDP per capita of only $200 just 30 years ago. But nowadays Vietnam is on the top of the news because of its unbelievable economic progress. The change started in 1986 when Vietnam launched a political and economic innovation campaign with a new set of reforms called Đói Moi. These reforms were aimed to restructure the centrally planned economy into a socialist-oriented market economy. The state-owned enterprises were cut down from 12,000 in 1986 to 600 in 2017. The country changed its foreign investment law in 1987, and slowly after that foreign investment started to explode in Vietnam. Numerous American, Japanese, and Korean companies have their production facilities based in Vietnam. In fact, the technology giant, Samsung produces 50% of its smartphones in Vietnam. At the same time, international trade agreements also played a key role in Vietnam's growth over the last 20 years. In 1995, Vietnam joined the ASEAN Free Trade Area. Because of the ASEAN Trade Network, Vietnam has automatically gotten access to many huge markets, notably China due to the China-ASEAN FTA. Vietnam has also joined the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Trade Agreement which aims for more free trade between ASEAN nations and Japan, South Korea, China, Australia, and New Zealand. To say the least, Vietnam is a champion of a free trade-based economic model. Hence, no doubt it has the potential to climb to the top. Like Vietnam, India also faced a lot of struggle and political turmoil in the past. Even 30-40 years after its independence, India did not grow significantly. The real changes in the Indian economy started in 1991. The Indian state tried to shed its diffidence about foreign capital and attract investments. The country's state-owned enterprises were privatized, its once strict regulations on trade were relaxed, and foreign investment was encouraged. The following were the 2 main objectives of liberalization 1991. Firstly, to boost international foreign investment, industrial production, and technology competitiveness. And secondly, to increase the position of Indian goods in the international markets. This led to the subsequent birth of a rising economic superpower. India's economic journey has been amazing, from a GDP of $288 billion in 1992 to more than $3 trillion today. The reforms helped the country to shift from an agriculture-based economy to an industrial and service-based economy. But unlike Vietnam, India's growth has mostly come with the services and IT sector in the country. Over the past 60 years, the service industry in India has increased from less than a quarter of the GDP to approximately 56% between 2019 and 2020. English serves as the primary language of international business, and India stands as the second largest country in terms of English speakers. This serves as the pillar to India's service sector growth. India has some of the largest IT, outsourcing, and consulting companies in the world. Like Tata Consulting, Infosys, and Wipro. Business outsourcing is a well-known industry in India. BPO is the fastest growing segment of the IT industry in India. Now the country is looking to be a manufacturing hub in engineering goods, which is the largest export of the country. New government policies are encouraging the manufacturing sector and they are attracting a lot of foreign companies to set up factories in India. India does suffer from some problems as well. It has rampant corruption, high inflation, and poor infrastructure as compared to the leading Asian economies. However, the government looks serious to address these challenges. The government's $1.5 trillion new investment plan to transform India's infrastructure reaffirms the optimism regarding the country. Next, we will talk about Indonesia. Indonesia is a very different country. Often a trend is followed in many developing nations, most of them follow a typical path for their economic development. They transform from an agriculture-based economy to an industrial and then a service-based economy. But this was not the case with Indonesia. The country is quite rich in natural resources. They hold large reserves of crude palm oil, coal, gas, and copper. Mining is big industry in Indonesia that contributes around 5% to the nation's GDP. In the 2000s they made a lot of money due to the commodity boom in the international market, which helped them to recover from the Asian financial crisis. They did this in the past as well when the two oil booms substantially increased government revenues in 1970s. Indonesia also has a large young population. This massive population creates a huge demand for consumer goods. Strong consumption growth also reflects rising incomes, with Indonesians moving out of poverty and into the middle class. Domestic demand is likely to continue to expand strongly over coming years, supported by an expanding middle class and ambitious government plans to improve infrastructure. Along with this, the growing middle class is also contributing to the rapid urbanization of the country. This helped Indonesia's large industrial and service sector growth. This growth in other sectors is helping them to reduce their dependence on commodity exports, which is essential for a growing nation. It is estimated that by 2030 Indonesia could be the largest economy in Asia after China and India. Due to its large population, Indonesia is set to become one of the biggest consumer markets. Indonesia's working class population is becoming the backbone of the country's economy. The last country that we will discuss today is Bangladesh. This is a country that was once called a basket case and is now being one of the fastest growing economies in South Asia. Born out of war, Bangladesh has come a long way from its early days. It continued to grow at an astonishing 10% in the last decade. Its GDP tripled from $100 billion in 2009 to almost $303 billion in 2019. This has happened because the government abandoned the nationalization policy and gradually gave greater scope to private sector participation in the economy. Many state-owned enterprises have been privatized, like banking, telecommunication, aviation, media, and some other industries. But there is another reason for Bangladesh's economic growth: the garment industry. The garment industry has grown massively in the country in recent times. Bangladesh has become the second largest manufacturer of ready-made garments after China. It is the main item of export of the country, accounting for more than 80% of total exports of the nation. One of the reasons Bangladesh has been successful in capitalizing on the garment industry is the massive labor force of the country. The garment industry also increased the social attitude of the country, because the industry employs a lot of females, depicting strong women empowerment. International trade also benefited the country to a great extent. Besides the garment industry, the country is also working on developing its pharmaceutical and IT industry for the future. Today Bangladesh is a nearly $400 billion economy, but by 2030 it could grow to $800 billion, if the progress continues and government tackles some important challenges like corruption and substandard infrastructure. So, in the coming time, these could also be the next Asian Tiger economies to show a significant influence on the world economy. Let me tell you, these countries have some serious potential to do wonders, keep this in mind. Here I have a question for you all viewers: do you believe that these countries will really become what the world is estimating them to be, or you think that some other Asian countries like Philippines, Malaysia, or Pakistan will climb to the coveted rank? Some might even think that North Korea will be the next Asian tiger. Just kidding. I want every viewer to answer this question in the comment section. Also, I would like to mention that we have already made a video individually on all of these countries. Those are detailed videos that focus on one country, specifically. If you haven't watched those videos, then check the links in the description. Do leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Follow us on Twitter to engage with us. Subscribe to stay updated and share our videos. Till then, goodbye.